Hello again, world. This is Michael G. Nastos reporting for WDEE-TV headline news coming to you from our studios here in Ypsilanti, Michigan. We're reporting news today, top 5 stories for this Thursday. We'll also have a music and sports report later on in our newscast. Our top story, number 1 today, comes from the Detroit Free Press and writer Jennifer Chambers. Compensation for the 2 top officers at the Detroit Institute of Arts climbed by double digits, including $50,000 bonuses for each, according to 2013 tax documents filed by the nonprofit. DIA Director Graham Beal's total compensation increased by 13% to $513,868. Anne Marie Erickson, DIA Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer, saw her compensation increase by 36% in 1 year to $369,366. These increases came in 2012, the same year voters in Macomb, Oakland, and Wayne counties approved a $23 million millage to fund DIA operations for 10 years, and just months before the museum became embroiled in Detroit's historic bankruptcy case. Over the past year, as creditors pushed the city to sell DIA treasures to pay its debts, an unprecedented coalition of foundations and the state of Michigan came together to pledge $816 million to shield the art from creditors and bolster Detroit's employee pensions. Gene Gargareau, chairman of the DIA board and chairman of its compensation committee, said the increases were justified based on several factors, including personnel evaluations and the overall financial performance of the DIA. More on this story can be found on our local news feeds link on our website at WDEE-TV.com. Coming up next, story number 2, a Detroit man gets sentenced for causing his fiancée to miscarry at a Pittsfield Township motel.
At Morgan Taylor, buy 2 suits, get a 3rd suit free. Morgan Taylor is located at 133 West Michigan Avenue in Ypsilanti. Clothing and accessories for men, women, and children at Morgan Taylor. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call 734-221-0296. Ask about layaways and in-store financing. At Morgan Taylor, buy 2 suits, get a 3rd suit free.
Welcome back to WDEE-TV Headline News. We're sharing Michigan with the world here in our studios in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Top 5 stories for today, as well as a music and sports report. And our second story today comes from the Saline Reporter and writer Erica McLean. A Detroit man will spend up to 30 years in prison for causing his pregnant fiancée to miscarry at a Pittsfield Township motel, according to an MLive report. Jason Daniels jumped on his fiancée's stomach during the morning of March 11th at the motel, according to that report. Daniels later pleaded guilty to 1 count of assaulting a pregnant woman intending to cause a miscarriage. More on this story can be found in our local news feeds link on our website at WDEE-TV.com. Coming up next, an Ann Arbor native wins a Nobel Prize for discovery. Welcome back to WDEE-TV headline news for this day, coming to you from our studios in downtown Ypsilanti, Michigan. Thanks to my producer Tony D and Morgan Taylor. Buy two suits, get one free. Also discover Ipsy, sponsoring our newscast. Our next story comes from the Ann Arbor News and writer Ben Fried. Ann Arbor native Eric Betzig, along with another American and a German scientist, all won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry Wednesday for increasing the power of microscopes. Betzig, who currently works at the Howard Hughes Medical Institute in Ashburn, Virginia, is the son of Ann Arbor Machine Company founder and longtime owner Robert Betzig. The company closed in 2009. After earning his master's degree and doctorate in applied and engineering physics from Cornell University, Betzig worked for AT&T Bell Laboratories in New Jersey for 6 years. In 1996, Betzig returned to Michigan to work at his father's Chelsea-based company. As the vice president of research and development for Ann Arbor Machine Company, he oversaw product development at the company and introduced a new flexible, adaptive servo-hydraulic technology. According to the biography on the Howard Hughes website, Betzig decided after a few years in Chelsea that he wanted to return to the world of science. His problem was that he had no scientific publications in 10 years. Quote, "There was this big gap in my resume," he told the site, "so I knew I had to come up with some intellectual capital to get people to listen to me again." Betzig developed that intellectual capital in a cottage near Highland Lake in the Waterloo Recreation Area near Hell, Michigan. He returned to microscopy, the subject of his PhD thesis, and eventually developed a way for scientists to see smaller objects than they ever thought possible. More on this story can be found in our local news feeds link on our website at WDEE-TV.com. Coming up next, story number 4, an Ann Arbor retail icon, Middle-earth, will close up shop.
At Morgan Taylor, buy two suits, get a third suit free. Morgan Taylor is located at 133 West Michigan Avenue in Ypsilanti. Clothing and accessories for men, women, and children at Morgan Taylor. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call 734-221-0296. Ask about layaways and in-store financing. At Morgan Taylor, buy two suits, get a third suit free.
Welcome back to WDEE-TV headline news for this Thursday, coming to you from our studios in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Proud to be sharing Michigan with the world. Our fourth story today comes from the Detroit Free Press and writer Nathan Boney. Ann Arbor retail shop Middle-earth, part of the city's retail establishment for nearly 5 decades, is closing amid what the owner called an assault on small businesses in the U.S. The South University Avenue shop, which sells an assortment of items such as jewelry, accessories, postcards, and candles, announced Wednesday that it would close its doors by the end of the year. A going-out-of-business sale already has started. Cynthia Shevel, who co-owned the store with business partner Elaine Salo, said she plans to retire. She said, "I've had the store for 47 years. You can do the math." The closing comes a few months after the business partner closed their Salo Shevel Gallery on Main Street in downtown Ann Arbor. That was a clothier. They said the shop's 3-story building was sold to Metro Detroit ophthalmologist Reza Rahmani. Rahmani, who has been gradually assembling a portfolio of real estate in downtown Ann Arbor, is renovating the space for an unidentified new tenant. More on this story can be found on our local news feeds link on our website, WDEE-TV.com. Coming up next, our 5th headline news story for the day. Washtenaw Community College will be hosting a dinner of local foods to promote sustainability. We return here on WDEE-TV Headline News, coming to you from our studios in Ypsilanti, Michigan, and our final of the top 5 stories comes from Heritage West and writer Ben Baird. A dinner designed to raise awareness about sustainability will be held at Garrett's Restaurant, the Washtenaw Community College student-run restaurant. Dinner will be from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. October 10th. The restaurant is in the northwest corner of the first floor of the Student Center building located on the W.C.C. campus at 4800 East Huron River Drive in Ann Arbor Township, according to a W.C.C. statement. The menu will comprise locally sourced foods, some of the new Hoop House, W.C.C.'s core garden. The garden is run by volunteers from the community, W.C.C. faculty, staff, and students. The garden was founded by Washtenaw Community College faculty member Kimberly Gross. Dinner tickets are $7 for students and $15 for non-students. This is Friday night coming up. They're available at the W.C.C. cashier's office on the second floor of the Washtenaw Community College Student Center. The meal will be prepared by W.C.C. faculty chefs Alice Gannon-Boss and Derek Anders with the help of student volunteers. More on this story can be found, a delicious story, by the way, on our local news feeds link on the website at WDEE-TV.com online. Coming up next, our WDEE-TV Music and Sports Report.
At Morgan Taylor, buy 2 suits, get a 3rd suit free. Morgan Taylor is located at 133 West Michigan Avenue in Ypsilanti. Clothing and accessories for men, women, and children at Morgan Taylor. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call 734-221-0296. Ask about layaways and in-store financing. At Morgan Taylor, buy 2 suits, get a 3rd suit free.
We return to more WDEE-TV headline news coming to you from our studios in Ypsilanti, Michigan, and we have a WDEE Music and Sports Report. In WDEE-TV.com music news, 2 new recordings have just been issued with strong local ties. Pianist Larry Fuller is well remembered, growing up in Toledo, mentored by saxophonist Candy Johnson and the great pianist Claude Black. He was a prominent sideman for the legendary bassist Ray Brown and recognized by no less a talent as Oscar Peterson. Ann Arbor audiences know Fuller for his many appearances at the Bird of Paradise. Now living in New York City, Fuller came to the Big Apple from the Pacific Northwest, working for many years with singer Ernestine Anderson. Fuller has a new CD out on the Denver-based Capri label bearing his name as the title, as I showed you. He joins longtime Ray Brown drummer Gregory Hutchinson and Brown devotee Hassan Shakur on the upright acoustic bass for the date. They do standards immaculately interpreted with music written by Brown, Peterson, Duke Ellington, Clifford Brown, Joni Mitchell, and Bud Powell, among others. Check it out. Take 2. What could easily be the most acclaimed historical CD of 2014 comes from the late John Coltrane. Offering, recorded at Temple University in the Mitten Hall in his longtime home of North Philadelphia. This treasure has been buried in the vaults for decades, but it is now available through a joint effort with the Impulse and Resonance labels. Though Coltrane did hang out briefly in Detroit, he did not meet a certain young female keyboardist with the Detroit vibraphonist Terry Gibbs and his band until 1962 in New York City. The local spin is that a few years later, in 1965, John Coltrane did marry native Detroiter Alice McLeod, made her Alice Coltrane, then employed her in his band the last 2 years of his life. Alice Coltrane is the pianist on this live concert version of Offering, done November 11th, 1966. John Coltrane even breaks out in vocal singing, much like his playing of the day on the tenor sax. Ashley Kahn's liner notes reveal a high school teenager who was in attendance that night, Michael Brecker. Guitarist George Bedard was recently on tour in Honduras as an arts envoy musical representative of the U.S. State Department over the summer. He's returned to Ann Arbor, presenting a relatively new band at the Ark on Friday night. Bedard explores American roots, blues, jazz, and rock offshoots with a stellar large ensemble. Trumpeter Ross Huff, saxophonist Steve Wood, guitarist and harmonica player Steve Nardella, vibraphonist Kerry Kocher, bassist Pat Prouty, keyboardist Chris Kodish, and drummer Rich Dishman. Aside from his reliable trio, the Kingpins, this band will be a treat as the guitarist and vocalist stretches out on several levels. The University of Michigan will unveil a special musical instrument in a concert Friday night. As a donation to the School of Music, Theater, and Dance in conjunction with the Gershwin Critical Edition project, George Gershwin's fully restored 1933 Model A Steinway piano will be the centerpiece of a day-long symposium, a series of panels, and lectures, and a concert at 8:30 at Hill Auditorium. Students and faculty members will actually play this piano at the performance. The keyboard was contributed last year by Mark Gershwin, George's nephew. Familiar jazz, classical, and pop tunes will be played on the vintage 88s. George Gershwin died July 11, 1937 at age 39. Interestingly enough, Alice MacLeod was born on August 27, 1937, shortly after Gershwin passed away. In WDEE-TV headline sports, in case you are wondering why the Tigers got swept 3 straight by the Baltimore Orioles, here are some chilling stats. The Detroiters were second in the major leagues in runs scored during the regular season and plated 10 runs in 3 games for 3 Cy Young Award-winning starters in the playoffs. Their batting average in the playoffs was a paltry .218. They had 2 steals for a club that did upgrade their team speed dramatically, did not run the bases smartly, played shoddy defense, and were coached and managed poorly. Then there's the much-maligned bullpen, who gave up 11 runs in 4 2/3 innings compared to the O's 3 runs in 12 innings. And those Cy Young winners, they were first in playoff innings pitched at 20.5 and strikeouts with 16, but last in ERA at 4.43. The final knife in the back is that any team, including the Tigers, could have had Nelson Cruz for a song and dance, and he's the one that killed the Cats on Woodward Avenue this year. Maybe next year, but it's a long way till spring, and the Tigers will be a very different team come April, with 7 major players as free agents. The Detroit Red Wings open their 2014-2015 NHL campaign tonight against the Boston Bruins, the team that eliminated them last year in the Stanley Cup playoffs at Joe Louis Arena. They play the Bruins twice in the next 6 games to kick off the season. They do take a day off Friday before hosting the Anaheim Ducks Saturday in their extended opening home game stand in their never-ending quest for yet another Stanley Cup. Sports Illustrated has picked the Wings to finish 5th for their second year back in the Eastern Conference. And that's WDEE-TV.com headline news for Thursday, October 9th, 2014. I'm Michael G. Nastos reporting. So long, everybody. See you tomorrow.